Hi, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Hopefully, you are seeing this audio, and hopefully, you're getting. I'm seeing this audio. Hopefully, you're seeing video and you're hearing us. So,
Yes.
there is a chat window over there. Yes, over there. Let us know if you can hear us, see us
Yes.
okay.
If there's any problems or anything like that, let us know.
Yep, any problems, let us know so we can tweak that and we can begin this fun evening of Hour of Code Wyoming. So, really exciting. I'm going to turn off this audio there. So, yeah, so my gosh, it's going to be a fun evening. We've got a lot of things to talk about, why we're doing this event. We're going to be doing some programming demonstrations and kind of talking about what, if you want to jump into coding, where to go after this, some resources that we've learned along the way. So it should be a really fun evening. I think, technology, code, and Wyoming don't generally go in the same sentence.
Exactly.
And so that's kind of part of the reason for this event, right?
Yes, why we're doing this.
To encourage, and that's kind of what the whole Hour of Code and the National Computer Science Week is all about, which is bringing awareness to the growing demand of technology jobs and programming jobs, and something that we are specifically working on that we're hoping for a dream to become reality is to open up Cheyenne's first coding school in downtown Cheyenne. So we have a link here later in the show where you can give us feedback on this live feed. Let us know what you thought of it, and we can kind of still brainstorm that, and we'll talk more about that later. So.
Yes.
Anyways, I think we are good. I'm hoping no one said anything about the video or audio stuff, so we're going to try to make this as perfect as possible. But if for anyone who's ever done a live show before, I don't know how many of you out there have ever done it, they're kind of technical.
They're tricky. They can be very off and on. So.
And things tend to break. Like 5 minutes before you're going to go on the air.
Always.
Like that's why this microphone is like right in the middle of the screen here. And then Facebook was down.
Yeah.
You couldn't post
post
Facebook.
Always something happens when people are about to watch, so.
Yes, so that's just the thing. So let us know if there's any audio issues or some technical stuff. Just post in the chat and let us know so we can
try to get everything fixed. Yes.
So before we jump into the kind of the bread and butter of our thing, I guess what we should do is introduce ourselves first, and then we'll jump into a keynote and kind of talk about what we're going to do tonight. So first and foremost, my name's Eric Trowbridge. Most people just call me E.T., and I am the founder of Apixel, which is Wyoming's first video game company. And prior to Apixel, I worked for Apple for 8.5 years. So I've been a big tech geek my entire life. I love programming.
Yes.
I just think it has infinite possibilities. So I love sharing my passion about programming. And so that's me. And who is this fine sister over here?
Yes, I am the little sister. So I'm Haley. I have the complete opposite background of this guy. I blame it on him for being so into computers when we were young that I never used the computer because he was always on it. So it's his fault I never got into computers. But I did not have a strong background in technology or computers or anything like that. My background is in Homeland Security, law enforcement, MMA, and personal training. So just a lot of physical stuff. Never been involved with computers. I just stayed away from them as long as possible. So now my life has changed. Yes. I started in with the Pixel this last January, so almost a year ago, and that's where it all changed.
It did all change. Yes. So it was kind of interesting because I moved back to Cheyenne. I was born and raised. Both of us were both born and raised in Cheyenne, and I moved back to Cheyenne last year, October of last year, and it's just been really crazy how we've been able to build a small company, family, and like Haley was saying, what's interesting is you didn't even have a computer in this house just a little over a year ago, and so to go from having no computer to a year later, you're now doing 3D animation. You've done some scripting before. So I think that's what's really interesting because I believe from the stuff that we've got on Facebook and things like that a lot of the people that are going to be watching this video maybe have never programmed before. And so it can be very intimidating. So you're the perfect example, right?
Yes.
So what has, going from knowing nothing about computers to what you're doing now, just kind of briefly tell us what that experience is like. So maybe they might be able to relate and understand.
Oh, yes. Like, when we say no computer experience, like nothing, I could turn on the computer, then I'd have no use for it. So, I mean, it was a very drastic from wanting to go from that to then you're telling me, oh, you're going to program a computer and you're going to make the computer do stuff. okay. So it's very intimidating. Especially you'll see later on in the show that you get this white screen when you code, and it's just plain white, and it is...
You're going to see, that's my favorite screen.
It
is
a
screen of infinite possibility.
It is like the scariest but greatest thing together, because when you see it, you're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm doing, where to go. So it's very scary, but then at the same time, like you said, it is full of possibilities. Yeah. You can do anything, you know? So, but seeing that screen at the beginning, it's very overwhelming. Yeah. So, I mean, getting started, it's a lot to learn. It's like learning a new language, just like French, German, Spanish, anything like that. It's completely foreign. Yeah. So, I mean, it takes a while, you know, lots of learning curves and everything. But through all of the computer set that we've done so far, like I've said, I've dabbled in animation and rigging, 3D art, everything like that. I do think coding is where I'm going to land. It's very much problem solving. Yeah. It's very much a thinking game and solving puzzles, you know, and that's what I love. I love those kind of things. So after all of it, I think I'm going to go in the direction of programming. It's a little less scary once you get into it, and then you start enjoying it and having fun. So
yeah, it is like, so, you know, forewarning for those of you who've never programmed before, you know, the stuff we're going to cover tonight may be a lot over your head. We're not going to obviously go into a lot of details. But the idea and the goal behind tonight is just so you can see how when you write something in code and you're basically instructing the computer to do something, what happens. Yep. And we're going to be doing that in a video game way. One, because we're most familiar with video games. But video games are incredibly complex. They are incredibly complex art direction style. There's lots of code behind video games. And the nice thing about demoing coding is a video game is so easy to be able to write a piece of code, hit a play button, and see that code in action. And so we felt it was a really great way to show you guys how a little bit of code can really start bringing stuff to life. So
and that was the really interesting part, because before learning like about video games and how they work and everything, you see these things in process. You see computers, you see apps, you see all that kind of stuff, you know, video games, but you don't know what it takes to actually make these things work. So now being involved in it, it's amazing to see all the lines of code, to know, like, I have to do all of these lines of code just to make this thing jump, you know, or just to get the camera to rotate and stuff. So it's